Hey guys, this week we were in week 2 of our series Chasing the Wind, our walk through the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes. Before we get into the recap, one quick announcement just to remind you that coming up on Wednesday, February the 22nd, we're going to be having our Ash Wednesday services here at the Vista. We would love to have you and your family join us. This is kind of the official kickoff to the Easter season. And so we'd love to have you join us again Wednesday, February 22nd at 6 o'clock for our Ash Wednesday service. All right. Like I said, we were in week 2 this week of our series, Chasing the Wind, and we walked through chapter 2 of Ecclesiastes, where Solomon, or the author of Ecclesiastes, continues to tell us all of the different things that they tried in order to find meaning and purpose in life. And so we walked through a number of different things. And so here are the big ideas, the big lessons to take away. Number 1, that life is full of temporary, fleeting pleasures that will not satisfy. That is certainly one of the conclusions that the author comes to. Number 2, everything that you work to build or accumulate will one day simply be handed to someone else to do with what they want. It can kind of be a discouraging thought, but it is a reality. Number 3, then, the gifts of God are good and enjoyable, but they were never intended to bring us ultimate joy and satisfaction. And when we worship the gift rather than the giver, we end up settling for fleeting pleasure rather than the infinite joy that is available to us. And so those were kind of the big takeaways this week. And then in your small group discussion, really, I'd like to kind of unpack this idea a little bit more. As always, you can take some time and discuss the first 2 questions. What was most interesting or encouraging to you from the sermon? And then what was most challenging or raised some further questions for you? Question number 3, go around the room and have everyone in your group name or list some of what they would consider God's good gifts in their life. All right, that ought to be pretty easy for everyone to do. Think about some really good gifts that God has blessed you with, given you. That can be people, things, hobbies, experiences, whatever it may be. Question number 4. After you've done that, now I'm assuming no one would say that they actually worship any of those things. But of the things you mentioned, is there a tendency for you to maybe put one or some of those things maybe in a higher place of prominence in your life than you should? And if so, which ones? And again, I could give a lot of different examples. It could be something like sports, or some particular hobby or thing that you like to do, which can be a really good thing. But obviously there can be tendencies to sort of put certain things in higher positions of prominence, maybe spend more time in them, on them than we should. So take some time and kind of maybe think about that in your own life. And then finally, question 5, how can we identify when one of God's good gifts is becoming too much of a focus or a distraction for us? What are some of the indicators of this, and then how can we prevent this from happening? Or maybe to state it a different way, what steps can we take or safeguards can we put in place to prevent good things from becoming God things? All right? So take some time and discuss that together as a group this week. The action step was really simple, but it's just to be thankful for the good gifts in your life. So maybe take some time as a small group as you wrap up your time together and just pray and give God thanks for his good gifts in your life. But make sure that we worship the giver and not the gift, all right? Hope y'all are enjoying the series that we just started. Look forward to seeing y'all next Sunday as we'll start to dive into chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes.